I'm single, y'all. It is what it is. Everybody, and welcome to another video. My name is Arlisa J. You are now in the recovery room where you can come on in and start to recover all. Guys, if you don't have anything positive to think about today, just think about the fact that God woke you up this morning. That is one thing to stay and be positive about. Somebody did not wake up, but you did. So guys, let's go ahead and jump into this video. Please share this video at the end of the video. Subscribe to this channel and like the video once you are done watching the video. So we're going to talk about why I got a divorce. We're going to talk about that today. Earlier this morning, I was listening to the radio and I heard someone come on the radio and ask a question. Her question was, it was like a segment thing that they had on the radio, and different people chime in and answer the specific questions. So one question really stood out to me, and the question was, hi, I have 3 children and I'm in a relationship that I've been in for 10 years. I have Section 8 housing. I only pay $76 a month for rent. I cannot get my boyfriend to pay that. All he wants to do is eat here, sleep here, and of course get in the bed with me, but he does not want the responsibility of me and the children. What do I do? So it was a lot of things going on in my head at the time. Like, one, I wish I can talk to her and encourage her, because apparently there's something has been missed, you know, from her childhood, or maybe, you know, her adulthood, or maybe how she was raised. I did not go strictly to judgment. Oh, you so stupid. Why would you do that, girl? You crazy. He using you. Yes, we all know that, but there's a way to say things. So you don't know how she was raised. You don't know her background. You don't know if she was abused and just looking for love in all the wrong places. You don't know. But I see a lot of people, and notice a lot of people in society that is settling for less than God's best, when you don't even have to. You don't even have to do that. So one thing that stood out to me was, okay, you have this man in your house. He pays nothing, but he has a good job. You are in Section 8 with your children, providing a home for your children. So the state is providing her housing. She's paying $76 or $79 for the apartment, but she can't afford that anymore, and her boyfriend is refusing to help. Red flag number one is, why don't you want to help? Red flag, actually, let's go back. Red flag number one is, why did you deal with this for 10 years? Why? What does he have that you actually need? Right now, he's in a state that he actually needs you, but don't even want to help you. So then, number two, the red flag for me is, you are in Section 8 housing. If social services was to come to your house and see anything that pertains to a man, they're going to assume that someone lives there and you're going to get kicked out. So if he doesn't want to pay $76, what makes you think that he's going to pay $700 for a place for you guys to move if you were caught? So you are jeopardizing your children's life, your life, for somebody that means you no good. You know, strictly that. And many times we do that. We settle. We say we don't want nobody that smoke, but as soon as somebody come and be like, hey boo, how you doing? We like, ooh, hey. And he pull out a cigarette. You like, oh, okay. Well, he cool. He can dress. You know, I can stop him from smoking. So we go into the relationship with potential. Once I put this dang on him and let him know that I gotta leave him if he keeps smoking, he gonna stop smoking. We put those unrealistic situations in our head thinking that it's going to happen. And if he smokes now, he's not going to stop. The only person that can get him to stop, which I said in my last video that I will link at the bottom, when it comes down to red flags, the only person that can make him stop is God himself. You can't change no man. That's not going to happen. So many times we settle. And I see so much stuff in our news in today's society about such and such is killed. Such and such was found in a garbage can. Her boyfriend murdered her. Her boyfriend did this. Her boyfriend chased her outside in front of her kids and beat her behind. Why do we have to go through this? Why do you feel as though you need to go through this? Is it because of self-esteem issues? Is it the way we feel about ourselves? Did somebody tell us that we was ugly? Did somebody tell us that this is all that we can get? Because I know somebody who you should definitely listen to, and that's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And you are who he say that you are. You are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. You are the lender and never the borrower. That is what he said about you. You are the queen. You're the cream of the crop. So any man would be honored to have you in his presence. That's how you have to treat yourself. You don't have to deal with nothing. that you don't want to deal with because of the sake of a man. I have so many friends that are now single that want to stay single because they don't want the drama. They don't want the baby mama drama. He got 5 baby mamas. And you mad because you're going through baby mama drama? You the one said that you didn't want to date anybody that had children. But you're doing it. But we're doing it because we don't think that we can get anybody else. And that should not be your mindset. That should not be what you think. Sometimes we need to write down these positive affirmations and remind ourselves who we are. We are beautiful. We are unique. We were fearfully and wonderfully made. Mental health is so important in today's society, and it's what you think about yourself. It's the things that you think about yourself that causes you to get into situations beneath you. So guys, I just wanted to share my story, and maybe that will encourage you to not settle. Do not settle. If you want somebody that, not saying that, God doesn't do his thing. God does his thing. If he send you somebody short and you wanted somebody tall, the person that's short may treat you like a queen. He love God. He got an established business. He just short. But we like, that ain't my husband. My husband tall. My husband tall. He driving a Mercedes and he got money. So I have those friends who are boss chicks. They bought houses. They got their own cars. They independent. But then I got these other people who I associate with that it's like they can take whatever it is that is given to them and work with it. Why do we have to settle? Why do we have to settle for less than God's best? That's in relationships. That's with what we drive. That's where we live. We are king's kids. We should not settle for the bottom. Either it's the top or it's nothing. We are king's kids. So I just wanted to encourage somebody, one, with that. You don't have to deal with the mental, emotional, physical abuse of any man. You don't have to do it. And you don't have to put your kids in a situation where they have to deal with it as well. Say, for instance, you are a single mother and you of a little boy, and you are waiting for a man to come in your life that would treat your son as if it's his son. But then you get a guy that come in your life and he just completely ignore your son. Be like, what's up, man? What's up? Hey, boo, how you doing? Let's go to the movies. Drop this kid off somewhere. And I've seen people okay with that. Drop this kid off. You got a babysitter for him? Don't even want to spend time with the child. They just want the mom. And that's okay. That's never okay. That's never okay. If I'm a single parent and you can't treat my child as if he's included, as if that's your son, then I don't need you. I don't want you. I could do bad by myself. So I just want my young queens and my of course, older adults to understand that we don't have to settle. And when we settle, we put ourselves in situations. The Bible says, do not have sex before marriage. The Bible says, do not live with somebody that's not your husband. The Bible says these things for a reason. God said don't have sex before you get married because he don't want you to deal with the court dates that you're going to have to go through if this don't work. He don't want you to try to rip this man apart because he can't pay $2 for a Happy Meal. He doesn't want you to go through baby mama drama. He doesn't want you to go through a crazy situation with an abusive man that wants what he can get out of you and then throw you away and go to the next person. So that's why God stated what he needed us to do in his word. He written it down. But us, we want to be hard-headed and we want to do what we want to do and find ourselves in these situations and be like, Lord, help me. Get me out this situation. And God is so gracious enough to get us out of the situations that we put ourselves in. So guys, that was just a little encouragement. That was in my spirit to say to somebody. Positive affirmations about yourself is amazing. To write them down and place them on your wall every morning is amazing. You can do that. And you can remind yourself who you are. So when that knucklehead want to come and be like, oh, you beautiful, you're going to be like, okay, I know, you have a good day. We're moved by what we hear. But you don't have to be moved by what you hear. You can be moved by the actions that's coming behind what you heard. So that's what we can start doing as young queens, or queens in general, or Christians, or females in general, however you want to put it. So my thing is, it's like, why do we settle? If you are in a relationship and you are pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring, but you're not getting anything in return, you're in the wrong relationship. This man can't go to a bank and deposit $100 and think he's getting $600 out. That's not how it go. You can't go to a bank and take out more money than what you deposit. Why? Because it's going to say transaction decline. So that's how you need to handle yourself. You need to say transaction decline. You don't get the benefits of a husband if you my boyfriend. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You don't get the benefits of a husband when you are a boyfriend, especially if you're not contributing to this house. You are not providing for your house. And I'ma still cook, clean, and this is if you're not married. Because if you're married and he's not providing, I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know. I never been through anything like that. I never been in a marriage where he wasn't providing. Because if he's not providing, then moving on. So I was always a person where I'm not going to date anybody that has children. Some people call it selfish. They're like, oh, you want somebody to take care of your kids? Okay, but I also know that my baby daddy is nowhere to be found. My son's father is somewhere in Ohio and has not called his son in years. So you're not going to have to deal with the baby daddy drama from me, but you got 2 kids. And your baby mama already cockeyed it at me when you come pick up the kids. Why am I going to deal with this? I never wanted to deal with somebody who had kids. All of the people who I talked to did not have any kids. Why? Because I don't have time for the baby mama drama. I don't have time to be on a date and your baby mama's mad because you are out with me and she's calling you 20 times for diapers. And she knows she just hid all those diapers in the back of the closet, but she wants to get on my nerves and your nerves because we're out on a date. Simple stuff. Why? Because she's bitter and she wants you back. I don't have time for that. So guys, I want to help you. I want to be transparent. I want to tell you what I went through. I didn't go through that, but I went through something else with my settling. Telling God that I wanted this and I wanted this and I wanted this, but when I got this, it was like I settled. And it ended in divorce. And I'm single. And today's video is, why do we settle? Why do we settle? And this does not have to be a relationship situation. It could be, why do we settle with our jobs? Why do we settle with what we drive? Why do we settle with where we live? Why do we settle in general? In this case, I'm going to tell you how I actually settled when it came down to my marriage, which eventually caused a divorce. So, long story short, I met my husband through a mutual friend. I was explaining to her that I wanted to talk to somebody who actually loved God. I was tired of dealing with the individuals who did not understand who God was, because if you don't know God, how in the world do you expect to lead a marriage/situation? How do you expect God to be the center of your life if you don't know God himself? You don't know who he is. So in order for God to lead you and guide you, you have to make him first priority in your life. So I've been dealing with guys that, they may have had what they need. They may have, been very sweet or very kind or selfless, but at the same time, they didn't know who God was. So that was definitely a red flag for me, because at the time I was very, very deep in my ministry. When it came down to just what I did in the ministry and how I really put God in the center of my life. I'm not saying that I don't now, I still do, but I'm saying that the way that I was back before I got married. So I was dealing with guys, I was just so tired of it. I was so sick and tired of it. And my friend was like, I have somebody who you would really, really like. And I'm like, oh God, who is he? And how many of you guys know that some people come in your life for just a season? That person comes in your life. If you notice like a relationship in your life that just comes and then you get what you need from God, and then it's like that relationship starts to fade away. It's like because God put that person in your life for a season. Many people is not meant to be in your life long term. He cross paths and allow you to cross paths with people that actually have what you need. But when you get what you need, he directs them in a different direction because they're still not going where you're going. So that's been a fact for me. If that's been a fact for you, definitely comment that below. Now, I was introduced to this guy, and I've always told God that I wanted a man of God, but I did not tell God what else I wanted. Did I want a man that balanced? Did I want a man that did this? Did I want a man that was selfless? What is it? First, before I come to God to tell him what I actually want, I have to make sure I'm straight, make sure I'm whole. So coming to find out, you know, the guy that she introduced me to was my ex-husband. He was really, really sweet, really, really nice, treated me with a lot of respect. He loved God and put God as the center of his life, and I could definitely see that. We started talking, started dating. He was a armor bearer at his church, and I was going to another church, so we was at two different locations. And when we met and talked, you know, everything just like clicked. So being that we were in church, we still were dipping and dabbling into sin. We were having sexual intercourses, and that actually played a big portion when it came down to decision making when it comes to marriage. Now, the reason why God in his word tells us do not have sex before marriage, do not live with somebody that's not your husband, the reason why he tells us not to do these things is because they cause problems in situationships. It causes issues. If you have sex with somebody who you are dating, you are involving a lot of soul ties. So when you do see the red flags, it's going to be hard for you to cut the relationship because you have so many soul ties and so many attachments to this person. It's like you might as well just settle because you've already got connected to this person. So that's what I did. Just having, sexual intercourses, and, you know, being that we were in ministry, we knew better, but we let the flesh win. So I got pregnant, and it was like we were doing counseling with his pastors, and it was kind of like a rush situation, I felt, right when they found out that I was pregnant, because when he told them that I was pregnant, they were very disappointed because he was serving his pastor. It was like, you're serving me, you know better. I understand that we all fall short of the glory sometimes, but you know better, so you're practicing sin and you are my armor bearer. So I guess it was a little bit of, you know, being that I came from a church who Bishop, you know, he really didn't play about me. When I told my bishop that I was dating somebody from another ministry, and I was just trying to get myself released from my previous ministry to join my boyfriend's ministry, he was just like, you know, give me a second, you know, let me pray about it. This is a lot, you know, let me see what God say. So on that end, I had my bishop trying to figure out, you know, what was going on, where did I meet this person, because I was very, very deep in my ministry. My bishop really cared for me because, you know, he cares about everybody, but he really cared for me in a sense because my dad was his armor bearer and we have built history with that ministry. So he wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing and that God wanted this. So meanwhile, when I asked my bishop, he told me to wait a moment, you know, let him see what God says about the situation. The pastor on this side was like, look, we need to get this going. Y'all need to start serving. Y'all need to start, you know, operating as a married couple, and God can't do what he wants unless you get married. So we already knew that we sinned. We already knew that I was pregnant. So there were some things that were no ways for me. I would call them, of course, red flags. We all have them. And I always wanted a man that did not work a night shift. I wanted us to be on the same accord. If I was asleep, I wanted him to be asleep. If I was awake, I wanted him to be awake. It was the, you know, I didn't want him to be at work while I was asleep because I've always been nervous to be at the house or in the house with children by myself at night. So that's been something that I've always told myself. Unfortunately, the guy that I was interested in worked nights. He worked nights. So that was playing in the back of my head when it came down to making a decision when it came to marriage. So I'm like, okay. So the pastor was like, well, you're going to allow this small situation to mess up your relationship with this man of God. And mind you, when you tell God what you want, he give you what you want. So what did I ask him for? A man of God. So he gave me a man of God. But I didn't ask him for the other stuff. I didn't say a man of God that don't work night shift, a man of God that knows balance, a man of God this, a man of God that. I did not put the specifics in what I asked God for. So I would say to you, if you are asking God or waiting for God to send you a mate, tell God what you want specifically. So my pastors was like, well, his pastors at the time was like, you're really going to mess up with this man of God because of his work shift? And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, maybe it makes sense. He was explaining to me that God can do anything, and God can do this, and God can do that. And I know that God can do anything, but it's just some stuff that you have to make sense of. Okay, I'm about to marry somebody who works the night shift. I don't want to be alone at night, so why would I do this? But then again, I have this pastor who I trust who says God can change it. Yes, God can change it, but when can God change it? And how is God going to change it? Because this guy works for the United States Postal Service. So he can't go in front of everybody that has seniority over him. And God is like, oh, you move out the way. You've been here for 15 years. Let me put him in the day shift because he's about to marry somebody that wants to marry somebody that work days. God is not an unfair God. So instead of marrying this person for what it was, I married this person off of potential of what I thought that it could be. I thought that it could be, okay, I'm gonna marry this person and within 2 months his schedule is gonna change. That won't the situation, but I'll get back to that. So long story short, we're like, okay, perfect, whatever the case may be. We go back to my bishop and we asked him, hey, we ready to get this ball rolling. Can I be released from the ministry and go to this other ministry? And the ministries were kind of connected because it was like a son in the ministry. He was the bishop and he had ministries under him. So it was one of the ministries under him. And my bishop still was uneasy. He was like, I don't know, y'all need to wait. And it got so bad to the point where the bishop was like, all right, congratulations, it is what it is. Because it was like I kept asking him and I kept going on the stage asking him, did you think about it? Did God tell you? Did God show you? So he was just frustrated, probably like, girl, you gonna do what you want to do it. So I married this person. Sorry, y'all, I seen a beat. But I married this person and I begin to get, I begin to get unhappy in the marriage. Because the first 2 years were fine. I was able to kind of adapt to the situation because I put myself last and I settled. But the schedule did not change until we got divorced. So not only did he work night shift, it was no balance. When I was ready to go out to a date night, it was like he was just sluggish. He'll go, but it wasn't fun because it was like he was dragging his feet like he's lost his best friend because he was so tired. When we set date nights up that we could do, the pastors would call and say, hey, we need you guys. And then we would cancel the date night and we would do what the pastors needed us to do. So disorganized. Our house was God first, then the pastors, then our marriage, then our kids. But really the order is God first, then the marriage, then the family, then the church. The church is last. God never said the pastors come before your marriage. So we did not know any better. We put the pastors before our marriage. We put the pastors before our kids. And as time went on and we kept doing that, the relationship steady fell apart. So they would tell me, oh, you're so selfish. I came in different instances like, I'm not happy. I'm ready to end this. I'm done. And they're like, how dare you? This man is out here working his heart out, making sure you guys have what you need. And you're going to say you want to divorce him? And I'm like, well, it's because I'm not happy. It's okay that he's providing what we need, but I'm not happy. I am not happy. I'm not happy. There's no balance in this relationship. This man does not date me. This man does not stroke my love language, which is quality time. I am not happy. So I kept for about 5 years. I kept going on with the flow. I kept being in ministry. I kept armor bearer. I kept being used. I kept being the church. I experienced so much church hurt that probably was some of the reason why the divorce happened. So church hurt, that video would be at another time, but we're talking about the divorce. So we allowed the church to get in between our marriage and we begin to fall apart. So the enemy is conniving and he's sneaky and he does what he needs to do. But sometimes you can't blame it on the enemy. You blame it on yourself because it's okay to work night shift, but just, after you have taken your nap and went to sleep, have some time for me. Watch a movie with me. But instead, he would take a nap, be refreshed, and then wake up and then get a call from his pastor and he out the door. So it's like, where does that leave me? Like, we were supposed to go on a date night. Where does that leave me? So time went on. And because I decided to settle, I ended up in divorce. And it was not a bad divorce because just like I said, this wasn't a bad person. This was really a person who took care of his family and took care of his responsibilities, and did what he needed to do. It's just that he did not know how to balance everything that he had going on. The church, the kids, the family, God, work. He did not know how to balance any of that. So it just became too much for him to handle, which it put a lot on me, because it's like, okay, I can only, not expect what I need for so long. At the end of the day, I'm still human and I still need quality time. So I felt as though that I was wrong because I demanded quality time when he was supposed to be with his church. So, that situation really put me at a point in my life where I was like, you know what, I'm done. I left the church, I left the marriage, I left everything where it was, and I left because I was not happy. And I had someone come up to me and she was like, you know what, you need to live your truth. I will never forget that. She said, you need to live your truth. After she said that, it was a Sunday morning and I was at church with my previous husband, and I walked out the church. And they'd never seen me again, because it was like I needed to live my truth, and my truth was not with this ministry. My truth was not with this marriage, because I was unhappy. I kept telling everybody. I kept telling the husband. I kept telling the pastors. I kept telling God that I was unhappy. Nobody listened to me. So here we are with a broken marriage, a broken relationship. So I went through all that just because I did not obey what God said. One, do not have sex before marriage. If we do what the Bible say do, we will save ourselves from so much heartache, pain, frustration, court dates, all types of stuff that we go through in life that we could have saved ourselves from for not listening to what the word is telling us. The word is saying do not have sex before marriage. Why? Because we don't want this child that was born and to be in a broken marriage or a broken relationship. Then now we have a daughter that's traveling from house to house. That's too much confusion. And God did not order it like that. He ordered it the way that he ordered it so it can flow in unity, and it can be, what he is, and he can flourish through it, and he can bless it. But we done messed that up, because many times we want to do what we want to do. So guys, I said all that to say this: do not settle. If you have something that you don't want to deal with, if you have a boyfriend that has all these kids and you told yourself that you would never date anybody with kids, why are you dating him? Why? And then you're mad because the baby mamas are coming to you trying to start fights. But this is you settling. You're putting yourself through this situation. You don't deserve to be beat. You don't deserve to be abused mentally, physically, and emotionally. You are a queen. You were brought with a price. Step up and realize who you are in yourself. Build up your self-esteem. Get into the word of God, into what God says that you are, and not what people say that you are. There's so many people out here that's living for what other people got to say. For what? They don't feed you. They don't clothe you. I don't give a doggone what somebody got to say about me, because what you doing for me? You're not providing for me. You're not working to bring money in my household. I don't care what you say about me. I only care what the Father says about me. And that's who I am, whatever he says I am. So guys, the red flags are so important to see. It's like when you meet somebody and you say, oh, that can change. That can change. All right, so I'm gonna go in this relationship. That can change. He has several girls in his phone, but when I get to him and I put it on him, he gonna erase all them numbers. Now, how can we be so stupid? How, as women of Christ, or women in general, can be so stupid to think that if he don't have 8 girls' phone numbers in his phone right now, if he has it in there now, what makes you think he's gonna delete it when you put something magical on her? What is going on here? So it's like, if he has that now, only God can change a man. I said that in my previous video. Only God can change a man. We go through in these situations and these relationships and these situationships, and we're like, it's gonna change. But you need to go into the relationship for what it is and not what it has the potential to be. I'm gonna say it again. You need to go into a relationship for what it is and not the potential that it could be. Because potential can be potential, or it can not happen. It can happen, but it cannot happen. So you just want to make sure There's a lot going on in today's society when it comes down to men and women. Women getting killed by their boyfriends, or being stalked, or being harassed, or being beat. It's so much going on in today's society. If you are in a relationship that you are dealing with abuse in any type of manner, I suggest that you reach out for help. Your mental health is the most important thing that there is. Your mental health and coping with the fact that you are in an abusive relationship, and coping with the fact that you need to get out of the abusive relationship is so important for your mental health. Mental health is something that we need to focus on nowadays. We don't need to focus on what we wear, or what makeup we have on, or how good our hair look, or what name brand is coming out next. That's the stuff that we don't need to focus on. But we need to focus on Christ, and we need to focus on a healthy mental health and relationship, into your interpersonal skills when it comes down to a successful relationship. Any relationship, just successful relationships. So guys, I hope this video will help somebody. I want to be an example, and I want to tell you and be transparent with what I went through. Not saying that I had a bad marriage, but I settled for something that I knew that I couldn't handle, but I did it just because I thought it would change. So again, guys, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. It's okay to be single. It's okay to be free. It's okay to enjoy who you are by yourself until God sends you the man that you are supposed to be with. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay those nights when you are weak and you want somebody to cuddle with you, or you want somebody to be there with you. It's easier said than done, but God the Father is there, and He knows what you need, and it's coming. You just got to continue to be patient and wait for the best, because if you wait for the best, you will have nothing but the best. So again, guys, Arlisa J with the Recovery Room. Thank you so much for watching and joining. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. I'll see you in my next video.